And this is the Ancel S300 leak detector, which is basically a smoke machine combined with an air compressor that can allow us to find leaks on a vehicle and allow us to troubleshoot many of its different systems. And on this video, I'm going to show you the features of this unit, as well as show you the accessories that come with it and a couple of different tests to show you how it works. As always, I'd like to remind you that I place a link in the description down below to this product in case you'd like to get one for yourself. But now let's get this unit ready for use. They have included this little funnel that allows me to pour in some standard mineral oil in here. And there is a little glass window in the back of the unit to check the oil fill level. And the bottom of the window indicates the minimum amount of oil needed, and the top of the window indicates the maximum amount of oil we can load on the unit. And now let's power the unit with the included power cable. And here's the included hose for the smoke or air, and that connects right here. And the first mode is air pump mode only, where it just blows air like a small air compressor. Let's see how much air pressure we can actually get out of this little unit. And we're looking at the gauge right here, which is in PSI, looking at that top number, and looks like we're able to get about 14 PSI. And the second mode is for smoke. Now, how long does it actually take before it starts blowing smoke is going to depend on how cold the unit is when you start using it. But on average, I've seen that it takes roughly about 10 to 20 seconds before it begins to blow a nice amount of smoke. And now let me show you the most common test that is normally done with the leak detector to find leaks on the engine, and that is done by inserting the air and smoke into the engine via the intake. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my air filter and connect the smoke detector to it. And to do this test, we're going to use the adapter that they have included that brings this size nozzle to a larger size. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that into here, make sure it's nice and secure. And now I can take this larger cone and insert that until it's fully secure into this intake and creates a nice seal so I can begin to insert smoke and pressurize the system to check for leaks. Now I'm going to turn the leak detector on the smoke mode, and I'm going to wait till the system fills with smoke and check to see if I see any smoke coming out of any areas which will indicate a leak. But I want to show you what a leak will look like, and I'm going to loosen up this hose right here just a little bit, and that is going to simulate what a leak would look like. Maybe about right here. There you go. Notice what happens. We slowly start to see a little bit of smoke come out of there, and the amount of smoke is actually going to increase the more smoke gets inside of the system and the more that this unit becomes pressurized by the smoke. And as long as we follow where we see the smoke, we will locate either loose hoses or broken hoses or anything else that may have a crack that may be creating that vacuum leak. And the cone adapter is going to work great for any openings that are round, because the cone adapter is round, so when we insert them into that opening, it's going to create a nice seal around here where we can pressurize and begin to insert smoke. But if we are trying to insert smoke into an opening that is not round, perhaps an opening that has an irregular shape, this is where they have included a different adapter, and that looks like this. It's a bladder adapter, and it's interesting because what this does, it just fills with air. I'm going to deflate that. If you have an irregular opening, we can insert that into that irregular opening, and now we can begin to pump it with air. And as you can see, this bladder begins to expand, creating that seal around that irregular shape. And after you're done testing, there is a button on the bladder that releases the air so we can pull out this adapter. And in case you're curious how big this thing can get, this is actually rated as being able to expand to fill irregular openings as large as 140 millimeters in terms of the size of it, because as you can see, this thing expands like a balloon. Now at some point this can potentially either get damaged, puncture, or just wear out, so they have also included a spare bladder and the O-ring or clamp actually attachment in case we ever needed to replace this. But I also want to show you how to use this flow meter. As you can see, if I turn the knob in this direction, I can decrease the amount of air that's coming out of here, and if I turn it in this direction, we can increase the amount of air that's coming out of here as indicated by this flow meter. So So let's imagine that we were pressurizing the vehicle with either air or smoke. We're gonna see the needle increase and continue to increase until it reaches the maximum amount of PSI that this unit can produce. But also notice that the flow meter is dropping, and that is because there is less and less air going into that engine or into that part that we're testing. And eventually it's gonna get to a point where it drops completely, so no more air is flowing. That indicates that that system is closed. There is no leak on it. We have reached the maximum PSI that this unit can provide, and we have absolutely no flow going to it. But how does it look like when we actually found a leak? I'm gonna release some pressure on my thumb, and notice that the ball begins to rise, indicating that there is flow of air again. Notice that we have reached close to the maximum PSI that the unit can produce, but the ball never actually fully dropped, indicating that there is flow of air still going. So if this ball does not drop, that means that there is a leak on the system. Now, if the ball is closer towards the bottom of this gauge, that means that it's a small leak, and if the ball is closer towards the top, like right here, that means that this is a fairly large leak that we have detected, and you can even see how we have lost some pressure. But you'll also notice that there is a P0442 number right here and P0456 number right here, and this corresponds to DTCs. So if the car is telling us that there is a large leak and we connect this unit to the vehicle, and sure enough, we can see that the ball is around this area, so there is a large leak, which is triggering P0442. Now, if the flow meter was indicating somewhere down here in the bottom, P0456, that would indicate that we have located a small leak. And I'm gonna simulate that by decreasing the airflow right here. So this is what it would look like if we had found a small leak on our system, which would trigger a code P0456. So as you can see, having a flow meter on a leak detector is extremely helpful, because just knowing that there is air flowing into the system of the vehicle, that allows us to tell that there is a leak, and also the size of the leak based on the amount of air that's flowing through this gauge. And once we know that there is a leak, we can begin to look for smoke to actually locate the place where that leak is happening at. And probably the second most common test that I see done with this unit is to check for leaks in the exhaust of the vehicle. Let me show you what that test looks like. And the exhaust leak test is performed very similarly to the intake test that I showed you earlier. The main difference is the direction from where smoke is inserted, which in this case is going to be inserted from the exhaust towards the engine. And here is the muffler. Again, I have my cone adapter, which I'm going to insert into that little exhaust pipe until I get a nice fit on here and a good seal. Then I can turn on the smoke machine and begin to pressurize the system with smoke and air. And when performing this test, I do prefer to have the car on jack stands, so I can look underneath and check the exhaust joints to see if I see any leaks, or any leaks perhaps by the catalytic converter area, or any leaks by the exhaust manifold. And that's the great part about the exhaust leak test, that it allows us to check the entire system from the back of the exhaust to the engine. And the intake test that I performed earlier checked everything up front, from the intake into the engine, showing me vacuum leaks. And now with this, I can check for exhaust leaks, and that kind of covers pretty much most major systems on the car as far as leaks are concerned. And if you wanted to test the EVAP system of the vehicle, they have included the EVAP test adapter, and they have also included the EVAP removal tool, which can be used along with the adapter to test the EVAP system for leaks as well. Now, the EVAP test is going to be convenient because it can potentially allow you to detect leaks on the evaporator system of the vehicle, including a worn out gas cap. If we were to see smoke come out of that gas cap, that means that that gas cap is either loose, it might need to be tightened, or it may need to be replaced. But what that potentially could be a source of a leak, giving us an EVAP error code on our vehicle. And there's gonna be cases where I might wanna test the engine for leaks, but I may be either missing a hose, or perhaps a component has been removed off the vehicle, and now I have an opening where the smoke is gonna escape out, and I won't be able to pressurize and test for leaks. And this is where they have also included a set of caps, and quite a bit of them actually, in many different sizes. And these are convenient because we can use these caps to block off any openings and allow us to pressurize and check for smokes. And now that you know the features of the S300 and how it works, if you guys have any other questions regarding this unit, please put that in the comments down below. I have also placed a link in the description to this leak detector in case you want to get one for yourself. And if you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more cool car product reviews for you guys coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.